Maggie to the rescue!
Hey everybody, Maggie's here with three beautiful dolls today, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about them, a little history and background. But first, well, as you can see, Maggie has a flower in her hair, which is a hint of what we're going to do today. Thank you, Maggie. You can have a seat. And we are going to make flower crowns for each of the dolls, or flower wreath or garland, whatever you call it. And we're going to make them out of dollar store flowers. So these were each either between $1 or $1.29, because we know dollar stores now are over $1. And this one is actually made out of fabric, and it even has little stamen in them. And then the rest of them are made out of paper. I just think they're wonderful. Like, to find these in the dollar store is quite the score. Here is a larger one, and it's pink. I just feel like they're just made really nicely. So I'm going to get set up with all the supplies that you need to make a flower crown, and we'll get started. Here are supplies needed to make your flower crown. Obviously, first your dollar store flowers, and then also some ribbon. And this is seam binding. If you've watched my other videos, you know that I like to use vintage seam binding, but you can just use any kind of ribbon. And a pair of scissors, and some pliers to cut wire, and some pliers to bend wire, and then a little X-Acto knife, and that's actually just to be able to cut the flowers free here. And then you want some wire, some thin gauged wire. This is floral wire. You don't have to use floral wire, but since it's green, it's kind of nice to use. And you need a measuring tape, and I like to measure with string and then measure that against the measuring tape. But if you have a measuring tape that's soft and you can wrap around the doll's head, you actually don't necessarily need the string. And then just some double-sided tape, or just tape, and that's because this floral tape, which you'll need if you have it, doesn't really always stick that well. You have to stretch floral tape to make it sticky, but sometimes on the very ends or edges you need to tape it down a little bit. So really any kind of tape will do. I just like the double-sided. So that's it. I'm going to get set up and we're going to start making them. First, you want to start measuring the doll's head. And I just want to let you know a little bit about this doll. This is a really important doll in terms of American history and doll history. This is a Wright doll, and Wright dolls were made by Beatrice Wright Brewington, and she saw the need for Black children to have positive representation of themselves, and so she started her own toy company. She was actually an artist and an educator, and I think she might have been the first African-American woman in America to start her own toy company, the Wright Toy Company. So she made these beautiful dolls. I think this one's name is Debbie. Blinky eyes, gorgeous complexion, and they're kind of larger dolls and wonderful clothes. And she also made one, I'll move this a little bit, and isn't it cute? She also made a boy doll named Alfie and a doll with curly hair named Christine. So I'm just going to take my string and I'm just going to measure like this, and then I'm just going to cut that, and then I'm going to take my tape measure and measure that. So it measures 14 inches, and here's the thing. You actually want it to be an inch or two smaller, because you're going to put loops on both ends and then tie that with a ribbon. So I'm going to choose to make it 12 inches. And this is a Kewpie doll. And this is a vinyl version made by the company Cameo. Let's see, about here. And Kewpie dolls are the brainchild of Rose O'Neal, an American woman who was an artist and an illustrator. And Kewpie was an incredibly popular illustration and also a doll. And dolls were made out of bisque and composition and vinyl. So let's see what this measures. This is about 11 inches. So I'm going to go with 9 inches on this one. So you might recognize her. She starred in my witch wig video. She's an antique bisque Armand Marseille doll. I think I want hers to be more of the headband style. I'm going to give her wire that's 11 inches. So the first thing I want to do is just cut the wire. And then I want to bend it, but I want to make loops. So I like to just sort of hold it with the wire tool and then continue to make loops. So you're going to put that loop's actually a little big. It can be pretty small. You're going to put the flowers in the loops. So that's the first one, and I'll just continue on. So now we have all three, one for each doll, and now I'm going to get set up with the flowers. So now it's the fun part where you make aesthetic decisions about the floral crowns and what size flowers you want to use, what color combinations you want to use. And so I am just going to think about the 3 crowns for each doll and sort of lay some options out. I think for sure that for the Wright Doll, I want all small flowers. I'm not sure with Kewpie, but probably. And then for the Armand Marseille doll, I would like some larger flowers as well. So I'm going to make some arrangements and I'll show you what I came up with. Now I'm inserting the flowers into the loops. Now that I've placed them all, I'm going to start bending the stems back over. And you could do that originally. I just wanted to make sure that I liked the placement. Now it's ribbon time. So typically, since you have 2 loops, what you want to do is put the ribbon through each loop, 1 ribbon, and I'm using this sort of vintage green look for this one. By the way, the double-sided tape did not work, so these are kind of coming off a little bit. You could just take a clear tape and wrap it around. But this is supposed to be sticky enough that that will stay, but I have a hard time with that. I found sometimes I lose these because they're just looped through here. So if you want to make sure that you always have the ribbon with you, you can just tie it and knot it. So once you put it on the doll's head, you can just adjust and tighten it or widen it as needed. And I chose this blush ribbon for the antique doll's crown, and I added a couple of bows in that blush color, so you know her dress is that color, and it's a really nice kind of antique look. So same thing, you just thread it through. I think I'm just gonna put a little bow after each of these white flowers just to add something a little bit cute. So I'll play with this a little bit more, trim it up, and then I'm going to get the dolls set up with their crowns on for the big reveal. Maggie has her extra flower. The dollar store flowers did really well, and I'm somebody who actually collects millinery flowers. You know, have old velvet ones and little paper ones that are really beautiful, but these are just about as pretty as anything I've made. I will say in the antique dolls, I might add a few more flowers that are like the ones on her jacket, because I do have some like that. So that's something you can think about, is embellishing them with other things that you already have, or with more ribbons, something like that. But overall, I couldn't be happier. I wanted to take a moment just to thank everybody. It's been several months now that I've had my channel. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing and commenting. I feel so honored to be a part of the doll community on YouTube. It really means a lot. So I very much appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to. I have a lot more restorations and craft projects and show and tells to come. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Like and subscribe. Thank you.